Hey, everybody out there. Nice to see you again on YouTube. How are you doing? Doug, how are you doing?
I am doing great for Monday.
For Monday. Yes,
Yeah,
today is Monday. I was just over there looking at Bitcoin and I could see where people would have a bit of a struggle about what it's doing right now. We're having a bit of a I don't know, bit of a sell-off, some people taking some profits and which is great, take your profits when you can.
right.
But it leaves the rest of us wondering, when is it going to turn around and get above 70? When, Doug?
Yeah, you know,
Date and time necessary.
I'm glad you asked that because, I was thinking this morning, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. We all want Bitcoin to get back above 70. Why?
I know,
Why?
I know.
Do you already have all the Bitcoin you want to have?
No, and so this is why I love how we're having this conversation because everybody, including me, we need to be reminded of this.
And here's what's going to happen. It's going to go to 70 or 80. And what are you going to wish? It was back down to 65 or 55 or some
Yeah,
other number where you can buy. The human emotion makes no sense.
right?
And you got to take it out of the equation, guys, because when you think about it, when it's down, you're in fear. When it's up, you wish that it was down again because now you're greedy because it's up high and you wish you had more.
That is exactly the talk that everybody needs to hear about Bitcoin, Doug.
So here's the reality of it, guys. The institutional traders right now, they are the ones that primarily drove the market to 71, okay? Or in the 70 plus, right?
Right.
It was institutional. It wasn't retailers. Retailers are down, still not really participating a lot because the market was high at 70 and they're they're fearful to get in at that level, and they should be, right? Um, but there is still the greed indicator. When we look at the fear and greed index, it's currently at around 78, I think. So there's still a lot of greed in the market,
Yeah.
and it's causing, right, this sideways movement, and we'll look at it. It's causing the sideways movement, not really down pressure yet, but it's causing the sideways movement in the market. But again, the real question is what we asked when we started this: is do you have all the Bitcoin you want to have? Now, the interesting thing is that Bitcoin is influencing other coins in the market,
That's the
right?
key right there, Doug. That's the
Right.
key. I want Bitcoin to go up above 70 because I need all my altcoins
To
to
close.
go up so that I can close some trades and get into
Yeah.
some new trades. But yeah, for sure, for sure.
And
Bitcoin by
and this
itself, we'd like to see it go down, but we need it to go up for our altcoins.
right. And this may be a true answer. Do you have all the altcoins you want? And that answer may be absolutely yes.
And some of them, yeah, I sure
and,
do.
and maybe I have a little bit more than I want, right? And so, you know, um, I think that's a good thing for us to look at today because I'll bring up my charts, and when you're feeling kind of like, okay, I've got enough of this, at what point am I willing to get more?
Yeah.
At what point am I, and that needs to be a real understanding of, the market dynamics. You need to be looking at social sentiment on Bitcoin. You should be looking at social sentiment on the coins that you're trading. Um, Lunar Crush has a great social sentiment site. It has things like post engagements. You want to be seeing the post engagements going up. You want to see people engaging more, not just at the institutional level, right? Which we have, and that's really why we're going sideways, right? I think if we were back in the days where the institutional traders weren't really involved, I think we would have had a much bigger sell-off after we hit 71, and we would be much lower. We'd be down deeper at some deeper barriers, right? In trading at a deeper level. But really what we're seeing is that the retail level is not getting involved as much, and the institutional level is stabilizing us, and they're allowing the market to drop some because they're going to buy deeper, right? They're allowing that fear to come in, and people that aren't sophisticated traders or buyers, right, get blown out by their fear. And then the institutional guys who have much deeper wallets, much more money to play with, come in and buy. And so, and again, I think that's why we haven't sold off more than we have, is because we have a different game this time than what we had after the last halving,
Right.
right? But even after the last halving, if you guys remember, for weeks we dropped, we stabilized, we channeled, then it went up. So what was even happening back then, right? We had a number of probably larger traders that were going through an accumulation phase. They let the market drop, they find the barrier, and they begin to start buying, not buying huge amounts that would drive the market up, but buying enough that allowed it to stay low, and they were able to accumulate a lot. And then the market kicks into gear and drives up and they sell. So we're seeing that at a different game, a different level now because of the institutional traders. So, uh, but again, back to your question, my altcoins.
Yeah.
What do I do with that, Doug? Okay, well, let me share my screen and let's talk about that real quick. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Good idea. I think we're all in this place. Well, looking at yours, oh, you're looking at the daily now. So that was
Yeah,
in
this is
May.
daily. Let's
Yeah.
look at Bitcoin first, though, before we dive into this. I
Yeah.
just will.
Oh, you've got a nice buy there.
Yeah, see, so I went in and I set my buys to be deeper, right,
Hmm.
on my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I had them at aggressive for a while, which is around 3.5%. And then I came in, come on, and I set them down at, uh, the market had to get down to that 9 to 9.5, which we did hit that. And we're bouncing back up. And so when I switch off a daily and go to hourly, we can see, that the market showed a little buy pressure here. And again, it's trying to find its footing, which is, may hold this barrier. We peak below it, come back and hold it. This is the barrier, one of the barriers I was targeting. And what I'm willing to do with both of my Bitcoins, if we drop down to a deeper barrier, I'm willing to cost average these two for
Sure.
sure. Right. So I'm in the game. That's what I wanted to be in the game. And I wanted to spread out my buys, and the system did that, executed, and I'm sitting good. But I'm really dancing around a barrier here, right? Where on the hourly, we can see I went below it, came back up. I'm currently on this hourly. I'm really trying to close below this barrier, which means I'm heading potentially to here. And if I do, that will give this trade up here a perfect opportunity, right? If I look at the distance from here to here, yeah, it's 10%. Still not as deep as I want. It would have to go below that. I may accumulate this one. I may accumulate that one because I like Bitcoin. And if I get down to here, 12%. So, you know, I would potentially consider cost averaging this one or accumulating more, leave this one alone.
Sure. If it
So
continues to drop.
So that means if it continues to drop, and it looks like it's trying to, because I'm closing below the current barrier,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And let's look at on a daily here real quick. and I did this on Saturday. I really like to look at, and let me get all the dots turned off here so we can see the charts. There's a number of ways to look at this. I really look at, we pushed off the bottom and we stabilized here for a while. These are dailies. Stabilized here for a little while. So there's two ways that I want to look at this thing. I want to really look at from the point that after a stabilization period, we really took off, right? We're just now hitting the 23 Fibonacci, the 23 percentile. And when we get down here, we're not even at the 32.8 of this bigger move, right? If I look at the smaller move, the last stabilization, I'm hitting the 33.8, right? So depending on, which traders are looking at, there's three levels to look at here, which is the last hold and push. Here was a real stable period. I like this level a lot. And some traders may look at the overall move from here, which, puts us at, bouncing off of the 23 Fibo right here. So in all three cases, I'm still high in the Fibonacci numbers, which really doesn't show a reversal or trend directional change. It just shows that we're having a retracement and we're having, I think, buying opportunities in Bitcoin. But again, there is room for Bitcoin to come down and my altcoins will come down with it. With that being said, the question then becomes, what do I want to do with my altcoins? Am I already over invested and now I need to be really cautious and force the market to come deeper? And by forcing it to come deeper, I'm willing to accumulate more. But I'm not willing to trade in fear mode where I can see that I got two trades here that are setting, fairly deep and in a normal trending market sideways trending to uptrending. I would cost average these. But because Bitcoin is breaking a current barrier and showing potential to go deeper, I'm not willing to cost average these at this level, but I'm willing to set them up on auto maybe and cost average if we go deeper. So let's look at Filecoin. Let's look at Bitcoin first. So stay on Bitcoin just for a second. And what I want to know is I want some numbers here. I want to know from the current market, which is sucking back up. We see potentially those institutional traders on a barrier coming in. I mean, look at, we're right on the daily barrier and people started buying.
Yeah.
Who could have guessed that, right? Right. I'm 5% to the next one on the dailies, down to 8 at wick low. And to get down here, I'm about 16, but I think this is a very significant barrier. We break this, this is nothing, may bounce on that. I wouldn't think we would hold on that. We would get down into this range, which we do that, it's a whole different game, right? So we got to play the game that we have at hand, which is this game right here to this barrier. And I'm going to call it at about, 5-6% potential deeper that it could go. And so now when I look at my altcoins, when I look at Filecoin here, for example, and I look at, I'm already 30% negative and 24. Where am I really willing to buy? Well, I would be willing to buy Filecoin again, potentially if we got down to 35%. But I want to look at Filecoin's barriers also, because if the market drops, it could drop more than Bitcoin. It will follow the pattern, but what we see in the altcoins is that they have bigger drops. Even though what they're doing is they're following Bitcoin's drop, they're not following necessarily following the range of the drop, they're just following the direction. So
Right.
now,
Percentage wise,
right,
it can be completely different, where altcoins are a much bigger percentage generally when they start to drop.
correct.
Yeah.
And so now how far down to this barrier is the question for my coins, right? And if Bitcoin does roll over, we could potentially get down to here, which is 26% on a daily. Okay. To here, it's 13%. So I know that I don't want to get in. I would rather miss the trade, let the two trades that are sitting 24 and 30% negative go ahead and trade out, or force the market to come to me at a deeper level. And the question is what level am I willing to get involved in? This is 13% to here, and this is another 10% down to here.
On top of your already negative trade. So an additional,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
Correct. So I'm not going to move all the way down here. If I get both of these to move down, they would drop down into a range probably around here,
Mhm.
right? Estimating. And then I need a bounce. I need a bounce. I could potentially get a bounce off of this, right? And if I'm low enough, I could potentially get one or maybe both trades out in that bounce. It doesn't mean that this area is going to hold, but if I can get a bounce, I get out, then it doesn't matter. The other option is to be very conservative, force it to come here. And then for sure, I would be down in this range where a bounce could probably get me out of this trade in profit. So, so I'm at 30% on these. I'm going to go into my auto cost averaging, right? I'm going to go here and I'm going to edit my trades. I'm going to edit the cost average. Okay. I would turn this on and update this to set it. And I've got to be careful because I'm already deep in that trade. And I want to be careful about, setting up or changing that cost average price. So,
Right. So when you're changing your configurations, the last and you're wanting to set something up at a certain place,
right,
you want to make sure that you don't turn on auto cost averaging and have the system look and say, "Oh, well, your auto cost averaging is ready to go," and it takes a trade for you.
right.
So the good news is you haven't had auto cost averaging on Filecoin yet. So if you, as long as you set it up at that 30% or more, or sorry, over 30% range, it shouldn't take a trade.
Yeah. So you click on, I'll show everybody how you do that. Okay. You come here, go to edit, go to cost average. You're going to click this on, right? Now you're going to set up your numbers here. I'm already at 30%. Okay. And I know that one of those was about a 13% drop to hit that next barrier. But this is going to potentially affect both of these trades unless I come in and manually turn one of them off. So let's say I only want to auto trade this one. Okay. And this is the flexibility and power that we have here. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hit edit. Okay. I'm going to go to cost average. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say I want the market to drop 45%. Okay. I'm already at 30 and I know I'm trading about $50. So I'm going to do $50 and I'm only going to do it one time. Okay, I'm not going to do multiples because I really want to watch the market and have more control, but I do want cost averaging on. Okay, now let me grab my phone that I plugged in to make sure I had power.
Nicely done.
Right, and turn it on here. Um, and I want my fees to be considered. So when I say 45%, I want fees and everything to be part of that. So it ends up being a little bit more. Okay, and my 2FA is coming up. So I'm going to hit update here.
Okay, now ACA is turned on for every open trade.
But you saw what I did instantly. I came here and clicked this one and turned it off. So I'm going to turn
That
it
one
off.
trade. Mhm.
Well, if it's going to stay off, there it goes. I kept clicking it too many times. So now I have auto cost averaging on for this one, right? If it drops that percentage, it will add to the trade. If the market decides to hold here where Bitcoin is and Bitcoin gets a big bounce, right? And the altcoins follow, then these are already set to close and trade out as they are, and they have a potential or chance to do that. So, so right now, I'm comfortable with this one set at a deeper price. If I wanted this one at a deeper price, all I have to do is turn this one on. Now, both of mine are cost averaging at a 45% deeper price, and they're doing one trade. They're adding one trade to this so that I can see what's going on. So, given that we're in this sideways mixed with slightly bearish pressure on Bitcoin. And on Saturday, I called it pretty much almost 50-50 because I think the retailers are bearish. I think the institutional traders, every time we hit a barrier, they're bullish, right? Which is creating this mixed sideways movement.
Right.
So I'm going to stick with that until I have a clearer picture and I don't have to feel pressured to do something, right? I've set it up. If it goes down, great. If it holds here and goes up, great. I'm okay, right? But I don't have to overtrade, over leverage. I can let this thing trade out the way that the market's going to trade it out, and I can participate at this level or a deeper level. My choice.
I
So,
love it.
Deb,
Well, we've set up these money management tools that anybody can use to help you manage your way out of a trade. Oh, and what I love about this, Doug, is you just told the system exactly what you want. If it gets down to 45%, take a trade. And and also if it goes down to 41% and then bounces up, what's going to happen with the system? Is it going to take a trade?
it won't at the current scenario, but if we go in here, Deb, and am I still sharing my screen?
You are.
So we can go back in and edit this, right? And I can go to my cost average and I could put on trail buy.
Aha.
Okay. And so let's say I want to do 45%. I think the market's going to go there, but I know that there's a barrier when we saw it before there. And so let's say at 40%, I want the auto cost average to start trailing the market and stay 1% behind the market. So when it hits 40%, it'll set up the trail at 39%. And every 1% that it drops, it will continue to follow the market. So now in this scenario, if we do drop to that deeper barrier in Bitcoin, this will trail it down 50-55% or wherever it goes before, and if it doesn't turn around and come back 1%, it will follow it all the way down. So in some cases, this gives me the best of both worlds, right? It gives me the deeper trade. It allows the system to fluctuate with the market. And if it does go down only 40% or 41%, then turns around and comes up, I'm in the game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's do that. I like that, Deb. That's a good deal.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And
So
what you just did was you changed that, and that's at the header. So it's for all open trades on this grid. One
yes,
time, it'll take that trade if it goes into those parameters. I
correct.
love that. I love the flexibility, Doug, of what we've built here in nSights with the money management tools. And they're fairly simple. I believe this is a very, very simple platform to use. And I hope that what Doug just showed you is how I hope it encourages you to go out to nSights DeFiTrader.io and go ahead and get started in nSights. You have access to the one of the most, I believe it's the best platform for DeFi on the market. Myself, I'm a little biased because, helped design it. And it's working for our traders. Our traders love it. So we really do. We're looking for you. Come on in, join us, go to our Discord first, and you can meet the community and then come in and give it a try. You're gonna absolutely love it. We've built it for the traders, for master traders out there who want to trade your DeFi, but we've also built it for the novice, for somebody who's never traded before in their life, doesn't even understand what trading is. You're interested in crypto, you've bought a few bags. Now, what do you do with those bags? Or you want to buy some new bags and go ahead and trade them. Come learn how to do it right here. And that's what this channel is all about. We're not financial advisors. This is for educational purposes only. And we're really excited to teach you how to trade, show you how to use a platform that's going to do it all for you. Doug, thank you so much for today. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it. And I love looking at, Bitcoin and what the market's doing. So, guys, we're just part of the ride and we do our
All
best
right.
to read when the ups and downs are happening and do our best to take advantage of those. So everybody have a
Absolutely.
great day. Deb, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, CM Silver, for coming out and hanging out with us today. And we'll see you. We come again on Wednesday. Now, tomorrow night, we do have a call for anybody who likes these kinds of platforms, who wants to be involved in our affiliate program as well. So get into our Discord and you'll find the link so that you can come on and join us. We're going to ask our community to give us some feedback on what they'd like to see in an affiliate program for our platform. So we'll see you there, Doug. We'll see you back live out here on Wednesday as well. Everybody, thank you so much.